There we are. Few problems here as we get going, and apologize for the delay. I'm on the road today and had to stop for gas, so thought I'd hop on here real quick, share a little bit of what was going through my mind today. Try again. Sorry about that. So wanted to take just a few minutes and kind of chat through kind of what was on my mind. Is crazy busy. I talked a little bit about that last night, and really, how do we manage our time? What are we doing? Are we doing the right things? Are we being profitable? Are we paying attention to those things that can make us profitable? But the other part of that is, as we think about time spent in a crazy busy life, are we being involved with people who can mentor us, and are we mentoring others? Because what I'll tell you, based off of my history, and for those of you who know me personally, know that I love to network and I love people. Because people all have a different story, and that's the nice thing about Periscope, is that we all can share a story really easily on Periscope, but it doesn't have that personal relationship over dinner, or maybe it's drinks or a breakfast, or somewhere else. So, as I think about how are we helping others, and I mean that by also how are we helping ourselves, but are we mentoring people that we can learn from? Because I think as a young farmer or rancher, or a young leader, or someone young in the business, we have to think about, who do I want to learn from? Align yourself, and if you think even back to high school when job shadowing existed, or following somebody for a day, don't let the fact that we're not high schoolers anymore make that impossible. And what I always tell young people that are asking about getting involved in agriculture, find somebody in the industry, find out what you want to do, and maybe it's 3 different things, but get close to those people, ask them what they do, find out what their job entails, and then determine for yourself, is that something you want to maybe get an internship on? And so for those of us who aren't in college anymore, and we're living the real life, so to speak, and we have to think about our businesses and our operations and our career path and whatever that aspiration might be, where are we going to get information? College, as we know, is great for a baseline, but there are a lot of people with a lot of information that can help us. So as young farmers and ranchers, find someone who can help you learn and grow and understand, what did they stumble over when they first started farming or ranching. Maybe it's somebody that's not close to us. And I'll tell you, one great way to find that is there are tons of young producer or young farmer events that exist, from whether it be Farm Journal or Successful Farming, and legacy projects. There are universities, there are Farm Bureau events, there's Farm Bureau Young Leaders in Illinois. But get involved with those. Take advantage of leadership opportunities, take advantage of involvement opportunities, because throughout those, you'll be able to network with people, not necessarily a neighbor. And, it's easier to share some of the maybe harder things to share, like business dealings, that you might not want to share with a neighbor because you would consider them a competitor. But if you think about getting out and branching out and networking with others that might not be close to you, now all of a sudden you can start to share some more information that will help both of you grow. And I'll tell you, that's why I titled this mentoring, because here's the thing. You might want a mentor, but I would encourage you to also mentor someone else. And chances are the mentor that you choose will also learn something from you, because you will challenge them to step outside of their normal thought process. You're going to think about things differently. And that's the great thing about life and people, is we all have a bit of a different thought process. God wired our brains just a little bit differently. Some of us are great mechanically, some of us are great business minds, some of us don't like either one of those things, and we just want to be out doing whatever that different skill might be. But so, you know, and you've heard me talk about following your passion and working hard at that, but I think today it's all about finding that mentor that you can share with and that you can trust and you can help, you can learn. And you know, I think it's one of those things, we don't use people enough. And I say that somewhat lightheartedly, that people are willing to help people. We just have to ask. And so I think it's, as you think about a mentor, find somebody, network with them, become very close with them, share your story and your desires and where you see success, and share where you see failures, and understand what that failure point was, because at the end of the day, when we recognize our failures, then we start to assess and understand how we can get past those again. Much like when I talked about being afraid of the no, you know, don't be afraid of failure, because through failure, we learn a lot. And so, you know, as you network with people, be willing to mentor, as well as when you find your mentor, you know, you're going to learn from them, but pass that on. Don't make it a one-stop shop, because there are people that might be younger than you that still need a mentor as well. So once you learn, don't be afraid to make it a priority to be a mentor to someone else. And maybe it's a peer. You know, we are somewhat too afraid of what the other person is going to think. And we can't be afraid of what other people think of us. And I'll tell you what, there's a good friend of mine. I was thinking about this the other day too. There's a great friend of mine in college that I'm not sure he met a stranger, and it didn't matter what class we were in, whether it was an ag class or a business class, he would always shake the hand of somebody sitting next to him. And, you know, as much as I'm a people person, sometimes we get a little bit reserved because we don't want to meet that person, or we don't know them, or what are they going to think of us? Don't worry about that. You know, we've got to step outside of that box and think a little bit differently. That, you know, there's somebody that has a story, and each one of us have a unique story and experience. And maybe you're not going to know them or get to know something. If we have fear upon what we feel and think we just lost our liberty to live, yeah, you know, it's you've got to feel and think about what are we doing to help others, and not let our feelings get in the way all the time, because you're not going to have a close friendship with everybody, but you can learn something from a lot of people, especially if you're running in the right groups. So if you're taking advantage of leadership opportunities, getting involved, if you're thinking about going to conferences where you can interact and engage with other people, by all means, network with those people, because you know, the simple meeting, shaking a hand, hearing their story, you can learn something, because they might be in a business totally different than you. And yeah, we get scared. We let emotion control the thought process. So reach out there, let them share their story. Let them tell you what they do and how they do it. Because then start to draw parallels with what you do. And now all of a sudden you start to get a leg up on your business, because you've thought differently by interacting with someone who has a completely different thought process than you do. And that's why diversity on a team is important. That's why diversity in a farming operation is important, because now you have multiple avenues to attack something and a business problem. So, you know, as a kind of ramble on here, I'm going to call it quits and get on the road and head north. But those are some of the thoughts on my mind. Is just, you know, it's important to mentor. It's important to find a mentor, and network, because you know, that down the road, you're never too crazy busy to network and be around people, because people are the greatest thing on earth if you just give them a chance. And you know, I think that's where we need to be, is give everybody a chance to share their story, and do that through being a mentor, do that through finding a mentor, share their story, and make sure you prioritize that, because life is too crazy busy anyway, and people are who you can truly learn from. So give them a chance. With that, thanks for watching Supper with Sean. We'll catch you tomorrow night.